As vaccine distribution continues, President Biden says there should be enough shots available for every adult in the U.S. by the end of May. On Your Side's Brianna Ray Turner is speaking with local doctors to see if the president's new goal is attainable.
With 3 vaccines now available, President Joe Biden making an announcement last week saying we're on track.
This country will have enough vaccine supply, I'll say it again, for every adult in America.
Enough availability by the end of May, just 2 months earlier than President Biden's initial timeline. But will the country be able to meet this goal?
That's really, in my opinion, a very ambitious timeline considering the supply output from the 3 manufacturers.
Assistant Chief Medical Officer at UF Health Jacksonville, Dr. Shrag Patel, put this new timeline in perspective based on his research. He says looking at Florida alone, if you combine the 3 vaccine manufacturers for the week of March 8th, that would be around 700,000 doses.
If you carry that out until the end of May, which is what the president's timeline is, it's really going to put us about 8.4 million doses that are available.
The state of Florida's population is over 20 million. Based on Dr. Patel's research, that's not enough doses for half of the state's population. But he says it is possible vaccine companies could ramp up their supply.
It's not just about having vaccines available, it's about having willing recipients.
Executive Vice President and Chief Physician Executive at Baptist Health, Dr. Elizabeth Ransom, says she's been hearing concerns about the effectiveness of the vaccines.
There have been some questions. Well, Pfizer and Moderna had a 95% efficacy, and it looks like Johnson & Johnson maybe was only 66%.
Dr. Ransom says 66% is still very effective.
They're all great vaccines, and if someone has the opportunity to get any one of them, they should take it.
In Jacksonville, Brianna Ray Turner, First Coast News, on your side.
So let's